Welcome, birds and turds, to another afternoon episode of the Angry Bird Pod Show. I'm Kyle. Matt's over there. And, yeah, this is another one where we had to move it, but we're doing it still because we're consummate professionals. So, how's it going this afternoon, Matt?
The only thing I'm semi-professional in is being a dad, I suppose.
Yes. There's an added element today of a child.
I don't know if you can hear it. I'm
proximity.
sure you can hear him down here. We were planning on recording last night. Another sick kid, another delayed recording, another afternoon recording. However, it's a PA day.
Oh.
So I have a kid right now playing Just Cause 4 over there on the TV while I try to get this in. So I apologize for any background noise that may have.
We should do just like the three of us will like land in and play Just Cause 4 together. That'd be sick.
Why not? I feel like that's just like a stream, like a Twitch stream. We can do that on our Patreon.
Yeah, we're just branching into different kinds of media at this point.
I almost opened this, so let's just
let's
do it now.
Go for it.
Yeah. All right. I got
Twisted
kids at
time,
home.
Baby.
This is not my first one of the day.
That's fair. Fair. I understand. I'll put it in my... Before the stream started, I was playing with my new mug, and Matt goes, "What lens do you have that's an L?" And I was like, "Oh, the mug." My best lens is the L24-105 mug.
I want to tell my kid to be quiet real bad. Hold on. Harrison.
You can go for it.
You got to be quiet, buddy. We're trying to record here. Shh. No peanut gallery noises. Anyway.
He sounds like he's having a great time.
He's having a great time. I just hope everyone else is having a great time when they have this in the background the whole time. Like, if there's only...
Usually...
400 views on this one, we'll know why, and not the original normal amount of numbers.
Well, 400 would be about 4x normally what we get, so maybe that's the key.
No, not for this award-winning podcast.
That's true. Our award-winning pod, whatever it is. You reminded me of a story, kind of, when we first started just yammering before this podcast. So, I know you've been kind of going back. Well, not that you've ever left. You're kind of Mr. Budget lens, I could say. Mr. Budget wildlife lens.
Yep.
And it reminded me, I have this lens. So it's the 55 to 250. And I know I've on the EF version 2. It says right there.
I didn't even know there was a version 2.
I don't think it's any... It has to be sort of better in some ways, but...
Sure. Maybe
I don't think it's...
Maybe plastic density.
Maybe. It has a slight texturing. I don't know. They did make the 75 to 300 with the little digital screen on it, which was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I know that I've talked about how I started in photography taking pictures of like knives, cameras, flashlights on sort of product photography type of stuff. And this is the lens that I started carrying around with me. That I realized, like I can zoom out and try to get pictures of birds and stuff. So technically this is my wife's lens, but this is the lens that got me into bird photography.
Started it all.
Right here. Yeah.
Got you where you are today.
Got me one level up from beginner. That's
good because, some people stay at that level. So you leveled up one.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Always be, what do they say? Always be progressing.
Are you trying to make it? Well, that's ABP, so we need an S. So we could be always be progressing swiftly.
Son.
Always
be progressing, son. I don't know.
Are you telling that to your child who's playing a video game?
I forgot he was there because he's not singing at the moment, giving the listeners a break.
That's good. Always be progressing, son. That's what the new podcast is. But the thing that reminded me of it was a guy at work when I was trying to do the product photography. He was like, I was like, "Do you have a lens that can give me, like, this is way back, the lens that would give me blurry backgrounds?" Because I knew that I needed a lens for that. And he let me borrow his nifty 50 for a while. And so between this 55 to 250 and a nifty 50, that was my kit for probably 6 months, 7 months. And I wanted to do more macro-y stuff. So, but I didn't know like camera terminology and like that kind of stuff. So I bought like magnification filters thinking that it would make the subject bigger, which it did, but it wasn't in the way that I like expected. Like I didn't realize it was putting a magnifying glass. Like I really should have theoretically. But like I thought it would be like, oh, you could get like an 85 or like a 135 type of thing with this cheap little screw-on filter. And I was like, why are people buying lenses? This is so. And then
why
they
is
came
this
in
on Amazon for $18?
Yeah, and you get a whole bunch of them. You can stack them up.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
and didn't really work out as well as I would have thought. So
yeah, I think I was telling you just before we recorded, I have this little 18 to 55 here, and I threw on like this screw-on wide-angle kind of filter that would, it was a piece of glass, a thick piece of glass that would kind of give me a little bit more macro and a little bit more wider than even 18. And I thought that thing was the cat's ass. Like, I was producing top quality stuff back then, and you know, that's kind of where I hit like the peak.
You peaked at that
peak performance
screw-on adapter?
Yeah, I think so. Because now it does everything yourself now. Like that was like as manual as it gets. Like it like you couldn't use autofocus at that point. You know, not that a lot of people do for landscapes anyways, but you know.
Yeah,
now I got my dog barking. This is going to be a nightmare.
You got a full house. Matt's full house.
It's been just a whirlwind of the last 24 hours, so.
And
normal life. This is
should we say what day it was that we were supposed to record on?
A Thursday.
Just a Thursday? Just any old Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. It was just any old Thursday yesterday.
I think you're insinuating that it was my birthday yesterday.
I was. Happy birthday, Matt.
Thank you. I did get cake at least. I got some new bird feeders. I got a new suet feeder, you know, with the elongated piece of wood for the tail, you know, that style?
Yeah.
For the woodpeckers.
That's
I got another bird feeder house. Then you kind of got the suet packs on the outside of it, like the little metal grates for that. And then I got a bigger hummingbird feeder, and I got some cake, and I had Chinese food. And then I had a daughter with sore throat, and then I have a son who doesn't understand a volume knob, and
yeah, what a 24 hours you have.
Yeah,
that's funny. The suet, I want to, I don't know if it doesn't matter. I keep saying I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast because that's what I think now, but I'll just say stuff and who gives a shit.
Episode 40, you'll just forget about all that because there'll be new people all the time, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna hear it for the first time.
That's true, actually, theoretically.
Think of it that way.
Yeah. The bird feeder that I built to prevent squirrels from demolishing birdseed. I had an idea a little while ago and put it in action, and it hasn't really worked out. That idea was, so the bird feeder is made of like, I think it's a fence post, like a metal fence post that I cut into rings and siliconed walls together of rings. So it's like chains of rings all stuck together. Birds about cardinal size, rose-breasted grosbeak does fit in there. Can go through the holes, but bigger ones can't. The secondary awesome prevention thing is grackles can't just sit there and just demolish, but they can reach in and like grab and seed through it, so they are still able to eat if they want, but they're not as, I don't know about you, but I usually have them demolishing everything.
Oh yeah, and then the blue jays can come in too, and they can add to it.
So the blue jays, I think, are like the grackles. They can reach in and grab one thing if they want, but they can't just stand there. And
you also probably prevent a ton of a mess too, right? Like, is it pretty stationary and solid, or it's not hanging, right? It's
on a pole.
Yeah,
and it's got like a little baking tray on the inside where the seed is.
Because I find the ones you hang, they kind of sway, and then you'll have all that just junk on the bottom.
That's true.
All the time. You're feeding the ground more than you are the feeder itself.
That's good for the mourning doves and the little sparrows that hop.
That's what you see down there, chipmunks running around down there,
So where I was going with this is everywhere around my house that I could put a suet feeder is like squirrel accessible. Like I don't really have any location that I could do something that would prevent squirrels from messing with it. So I thought, I wonder if I mounted it to the upper inside of the roof of the sort of house-shaped bird feeder with the holes, because I know downy woodpeckers can go through. Harry, I had one Harry show up last year, and she tried so hard to get in there, but she couldn't. I guess she could have drilled a hole through the top if she wanted to. It's kind of their whole jam.
She's persistent enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a red belly over there to help.
Oh yeah, that'll get in there. I can hear them in the park sometimes.
Yeah, they're kind of like belted kingfisher. They kind of laugh at you.
Yeah,
they don't have the same sound, but they just kind of have that kind of cackle, and you're just like, "You son of a bitch, where are you?"
The flicker to me is that.
Yeah,
like,
that's true too. That's true too. Yeah,
they're usually the top of some dead like telephone pole or something.
They're always in great spots for photos.
All man-made stuff. I don't know what it is, or the ground. They're like hanging out with robins.
They're like the European starling of. I mean, they're gorgeous. Yeah, they're gorgeous and they're amazing. Yes. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, they're usually in pretty poor spots or on the ground in just the grass, and you're like, wow, this is fun.
Yeah, sometimes something takes off. I'm like, what the hell's that? You just see a white ass.
I think they eat ants. I believe that's what they're doing.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think that's what they're doing. I don't know. I've been wrong. If you've listened to the last 20 episodes, I've been wrong.
I'm sure I've been wrong at least 20 times.
Yeah, at least.
But where I was going with that is woodpeckers don't seem to be going inside or nuthatches or chickadees to use the suet. So I've been trying to think of something external that I can put it, because I know that it would get eaten outside of there. But
do you have a pitched roof?
Like my roof?
Oh, you're saying no, like the actual like bird feeder itself.
It's like a shallow
You don't
pitch.
want it on the outside though, because I was gonna say you could just screw one right to the kind of top of the roof and just let them just land on it and go to town. But
the
squirrels
thing is,
will be on top.
Squirrels can go on top of it. They don't much anymore because they're like, I know I can't get in there. But if the moment I add something new, they would. I was thinking of putting it. I have like a big front window. I was thinking of just putting it like right in the center of that. But then you'd hear like on the window, which would be kind of it's a bird feeder. Like,
anytime you're walking. Anytime you're walking through a park and yellow belly sapsuckers are there, you hear them hit those signs, don't you? Like every time. Do you notice? They're always on like a parking sign, or they're on like a trailhead sign, and they're behind it, and they're always hitting the aluminum, I notice, or the steel.
I don't think I've noticed that.
There's one sign. There's a spot like where I've been taking photos of the Towies. It's this unassuming road, and there's a little trailhead sign that says the start of this trail. It's the only sign down this whole road. And the yellow belly sapsuckers sit right on the post and just ting 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 ting, and it just echoes through the whole place. It's the only sign on the whole road.
Yeah,
and they just seem to enjoy it.
I don't know if we've actually. Who cares if we've spoken with this before?
But almost said it again
every time. One of my favorite things is people will be the first time someone sees a pileated. I'm gonna go with pileated. I like that one. Or pileated.
Pileated.
Oh, pileated.
I like pileated.
Pileated.
If we say it enough times, someone's just gonna comment. The comments will go.
Yeah,
wild.
I think that was the first episode we talked about that.
It might have been.
Yeah. The one you should never listen to. But the first time someone sees a pileated, I'm gonna go with pileated. First time someone sees a pileated woodpecker, they're like, "Holy shit! What the fuck is this thing?" Because they're so big.
Yeah.
People are used to the little downies showing up with their feeder, and they're like, "Oh, a woodpecker." Then this crow-sized monstrosity shows up, and they're like, "What the hell?"
And then the new ones are like the new birders when they search it, and then it says similar to, and then they see ivory billed, and then they're like, "Oh, this one's endangered. Maybe or gone, extinct. Maybe it's one of those." And then
there's one in my backyard.
Then they find a Facebook group.
Oh man, I actually on that Facebook group for ivory-billed woodpeckers, someone posted the other day. It said we should just name this group. No, that's not an ivory-billed woodpecker.
Yeah, or
the pileated woodpecker group, because everyone's like, "There's one right here," or "What's this?" And it's obviously always a pileated. But
do you think I could edit one well enough to get one to pass?
Yeah,
I bet it
probably.
could.
All you
feel like
realistically have to do is put the big white wing patches over the back. I'm sure you could pull that off in editing.
Do they have a little bit different in the face? Isn't there something a little different in the
neck
face?
stripe is a little different.
Yeah.
And the male ivory build has the black forehead like the female pileated.
Right.
And the female ivory build has a fully black crest, which would be sick. They're like the
that would
goth
be pretty sick.
woodpecker.
Because the only difference between the two that we have or that are still around is just that little mustache.
Yeah, and the females
One's
have
kind of white
forehead.
and yellow. The black thing, but yeah, like how I see is like the yellowish white mustache versus the red kind of mark. Like the why so serious Dark Knight thing.
The Jokers.
Yeah.
But they're one of my favorite birds probably. I say that a lot, but then I also have like the other end where I'm like, fuck that bird. I don't give a shit. Like, get the fuck out of here with I was gonna say terns. Terns are one of my favorite. Fucking trumpeter swans. They can kick rocks. I don't mind. Mutes are fine. They're not supposed to be here, but I don't really have a problem with them. They're not usually.
They're European, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true. I feel like they were brought over for like a queen thing, or like at some point the queen came over and someone brought some swans.
Probably. Just screwed everything up. The funny thing is, like, the interesting thing is that's what I see nesting the most. Are they the only ones that nest here?
Trumpeters?
No, mute.
Trumpeters nest here too. Like,
oh, okay. I only see mute.
Really?
I guess I'm a little further north or east or something, but it's all mute from what I see.
Every pond around here, if I'm walking around, people are like, have you seen the swans? The cygnets just hatched. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
It was funny. We were coming back from my in-laws and the lake that I'm actually going to go to tomorrow for my first official loon paddle of the year. I'm doing it. Babies are coming in a couple weeks, so I'm doing it. Gonna find where they are. Paddling across the lake as we're on the causeway. The causeway splits the north and south side of the lake. There was a family of cygnets and the mom. And I said the same thing. I'm like, oh, look for the kids. Look at the cygnets.
Well, that's
different. They are cute as hell. They are cute.
Any baby thing is cute. There's a baby. Sure. There's like 6 baby mallards in the park across from me.
They are pretty cute.
Yeah. One day I took the dog for a walk and I was walking around the trail and the male and female mallard just kicked rocks. It just took off. And there was like 6 babies. And I was like, is this normal? Like, should I do something? Like, are they gone? Did they go for cigarettes?
Well, if they went for cigarettes, they ain't coming back.
That's what I mean. Like, I didn't know if they were going for cigarettes.
Oh, no. I think they usually leave them in the reeds, kind of close to shore.
There was just like a rock edge and some grass. Like, it wasn't hidden at all. And I was like, well, it's nature. I'm not going to get involved.
Yeah.
Like, it's not my place.
There's somebody that's going to go get a box and pick them up. And
well, what I was going to say is a couple days later, going for a walk. Like, I didn't see him for a couple days, but then a couple days later, I saw the mom with the 6 babies again. So I was like, she came back.
Not a deadbeat.
No, dad might be, but I don't know what mom's doing.
I've thought about it.
Did you?
In the last 24 hours?
I've taken up smoking.
We're out of milk.
We're out of milk. I'll be right back.
It's funny comparing them to loons. As a kayaker, I think they kind of see you as a lot of the times fish or other predators will leave a kayak. Right, or a boat or something. I found a few times where the mom will leave the babies with you and then go greet another loon that's come into the lake or go off and do some hunting themselves. They actually leave them with you.
Oh, they're like,
it's actually really cool.
Here. I'm out.
Basically, and I kind of I feel that bond. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
And they just sit right beside the kayak. Like, it's amazing.
That's another thing. People know loons. Like, people see loons. When you get close to a loon, you're like, this thing's big. Like, huge. It's not small. They're like boats.
They're not much, and I've confused them a few times when it's low light trying to find them, minus the long neck. They're not much smaller than like a goose body-wise.
Yeah. They have no neck, really. Well, a different neck.
Yeah.
But yeah, their body, but they sit low. So when you see them like up a little bit or like out of the water, they're like chunky. They're substantial.
Yeah, certainly the females. Like the males can kind of lean out a little bit. They got that smaller head, but yeah, the females are they seem pretty big. Sometimes I mistake geese for them. Low light. I mean, let's not hammer me in the comments here. I know the difference. This guy doesn't know.
If you should post a goose doing like a stand-up flap and be like loon.
Oh, that'd be. I'll try to get one tomorrow. I'm excited for tomorrow morning. Like I'm usually been out 3 or 4 or 5 times by now, starting early April. Like, soon as ice is out, I'm out there. Anytime the lakes are free of ice, the loons are back. But I know that I want to go hard when it comes to end of June into the 1st of July when the babies are born. So I've, instead of pissing the wife off too much and
it's important
and going out, although I've been going out just as much, it's just different areas. I think I've been doing more of the migration. The songbird migration. And the Towies have been so nice to me lately.
I saw that. I love that picture with the spider web.
It's done very well. I mean, not that.
Not to toot my horn or anything.
No, I'm not saying that. I usually say like photos are, like we all say photos are dead or Instagram's just reels and stuff. But like it really humbles you and says like, of course it's your peers that are deciding whether it's good or not. So it's subjectiveness. Is there really any truth to any of this? What's good and what's not? I don't know. But you can tell when something hits something on a more artistic or emotional level, it definitely can still do better. Like it did pretty well. Like a lot of the times when I post something on Instagram, it'll be like 99% followers and then 1% non-followers have seen it. This post is actually 40% followers and 60% non-followers. So it's being pushed just through the algorithm, just because of it, the comments, the interaction. So it's interesting how it does work. And I'd rather do that than like sell my soul to the devil and start doing, some dumb reel.
Reels or putting music on your pictures. Who would do that?
I wouldn't do a podcast with them.
No, that'd be the worst. I was thinking about, I don't know if it was your post that made me think about it, but do you think that so normally, like you said, it's the vast majority of who sees your picture is people you follow. Even people who do follow you sometimes don't see the picture because whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that if more of your friends and followers start commenting on it, it then gets pushed farther outside of that circle?
Yeah, 100%.
So should we, as photographers, try to band together and then just try to boost each other? Does that make any sense?
Funny. I have seen that, and I believe probably around episode 10, midway through this podcast journey, I was complaining about, I think people are just commenting to get other people to comment on their stuff and kind of having this kind of social networking where they do push posts. And I get it. That's not traditionally my agenda, though. My agenda is just to share what I share and what I like from my outings. And if it does well, great. It's just interesting that when I look back, I go, I know why this one did good because there's extra layers to it. There's context to it. Whereas all the other ones are just bird on a stick. And bird on a stick don't do well when it comes to social media. Again, not really my agenda. My agenda is just to share what I like. And sometimes I get something that other people like. And that's fun.
Yeah. And I think that I think that's what the app wants, because the app wants you to stay in there. So the more you interact with stuff, the more other people are interacting. It's going to push that because it's people like this thing, so we might as well push it just because people are commenting using. So I guess
it's for their own benefit. It's not for yours. Just if your piece of artwork is what's pushing the needle that day, that's what's going to be seen. Yeah.
There's whales in your house.
It was my son yawning. He's sitting on his tablet now. He's going to come over. He will make a
whale.
He's going to make his podcast video debut, I'm sure, in a minute here.
Oh, right on. That'd be sweet.
I could see him popping over.
You took the Towie picture with the 150 to 600, right?
Not the spiderweb. That was the 800.
Oh, that was the 800. Have you A-B'd them now? Brought them both out and kind of switched back and forth during shooting at all?
I have actually. Well, I haven't in the same. So the first time I went out with the Towies, solely shot the 150-600, and then the second time I solely shot the 800, and I wanted to see the differences. Different light, different days, but
Same
both
subject, sort of.
same subject, same area, exact same spot.
Yeah.
Probably the same bird, but there were 3 or 4 males so in that area, so it may not have been.
Do you think I feel like I always see like 1 or 2 or 3 male towies and 1 female.
Yeah, there's only 1 female.
There's
You're right.
only ever
That's all
1
I saw.
female. Yeah.
Popular girl.
Must be, yeah.
So yeah, like I haven't A/B'd it on the same day where I'm like, hey, this is what I got with this and this is what I got with that. But being that the scenarios were very, very similar and only 1 week apart, and the light was very similar, it gives me a good indication that I personally think that they're both as sharp as one another. The 800 has obviously better focus, which may not be saying much.
It's also native, so you'd hope so.
It is native, but the working distance, the versatility, and the ability to shoot a little bit more in low light and start a little earlier, does side with the Sigma. Obviously, with the 6.3, I mean that just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I'll shoot. Interestingly enough, I shot less photos with the Sigma because I wasn't doing slow shutter speed bursts. Because I was shooting at like 12500 or 2500 ISO and 1320 shutter speed at 6.3, whereas in the same light I'd be shooting 180 or 1/100th or something and ISO 3200 with the 800 at f11. So a lot less culling I found with something that actually performs better in low light. Imagine that, eh?
It's true.
Imagine that.
Is your buddy keeping the 1-4 and you're keeping the 1-5, or the?
I don't know. I think
6?
I think he's still in Arizona. I think I
is he?
saw him post something about feeding or talking to a donkey or a mule outside his window. So I think he's still in Arizona.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much opportunities had to use it. So if he comes back and he wants to keep it for longer and not try it, locally, yeah, go ahead. I want to try it with loons too. I don't expect it to do well.
Loons are hard because they're the contrast.
The eye, yep.
They have
reflections.
They have all of the contrast, but their head is black, so to focus on it is very difficult.
I don't expect it to do well. I do. That's where I think it's going to be racking quite a bit and a little more frustrating. So I want to test that.
You were talking to me the other day about the 400 5.6, the old dope lens. I'm not gonna shit on that lens because it's a sick lens. I've never had it. I had the 300 f4, and on my 80D, I loved the 80D. The 300 f4 was incredible. At f4, it was sharp as balls. With the autofocus system on a DSLR, it was fast, accurate. It was great. I have nothing bad to say about that lens on a DSLR. On an R7, it using the eye auto tracking and stuff, which I get on the R7 is kind of not quite as good as some of the other ones, like the R8, for example, this fella. I only shot the R10 for about 16 seconds when you handed me your old one at one point. So I don't know how it would have been. But the 300 f4
comparable.
on the probably, yeah. The 300 f4 on the R7 wouldn't really ever find an eye, and if it did, it would be for like a second, then just jump off. Occasionally, I could have it to not find an eye and use a head, and it would kind of be okay. And if you just use sort of conventional autofocus and just said like focus on the closest thing in this zone, it would be kind of okay. But it just didn't really work. But when that thing hit, man, it was great. And I missed the look of that lens.
Okay, so here's my idea, my question to you. Why does that lens have to be paired to a mirrorless body? Why couldn't you have a lens like that and still have a DSLR body kicking around? Because
definitely a possibility.
To have something comparable, a 300 f4 in an RF mount is probably going to be $2,500, $3,200.
Yeah.
When you could pick this thing up for $600 and a body for this matching price, for under $1,500, you could have something that brings you back to what you just described and how beautiful that lens. And you take it out in a situation that is going to be beneficial to that kit. I think we get so love struck with what these cameras can do nowadays that, and this is what the Sigma has kind of brought back mentally to me, is yes, the new stuff works when it's paired well with the new technology. When it's paired new to new, it's amazing. The price point, it's not for most people. People are walking around with R5s and 100 500s. That's $11,000 worth of kit.
Yep.
At 7.1 or 7, f 7.1.
Yep.
You could have yourself a 300 f4 and a 400 5.6 on a 7D or a 6D for a third that price.
Yeah. You're not wrong. And I think, sorry, if you keep going.
No, I was just going to agree. I'm not wrong, but it's also like, it's not what everyone's doing.
I'm not wrong.
No, but it's not what everyone's doing. So it's not really something that people are thinking about. And I'm not even thinking about. This is something that like has brought to my attention because I am shooting something slower and a little more monotonous and takes a little bit more
deliberateness.
It's a little bit deliberateness. It's a little bit slower of a shooting style, which I kind of miss a little bit.
Yeah. If you're asking Kyle, I am. Okay. Good.
I'm not asking Harry.
Okay. We should get him on for a guess. What do you think?
Mom's home, so we might be good.
Reporter in the field. My brain always desires the new current, I'm using air quotes, better thing, right?
I'm with you.
Yeah. So knowing I had something in the bag that might help a situation differently and I'm not using it would be like, why am I not doing that? But then like people like Dwayne Payton and stuff will keep his 40D around and the 400 5.6, bust it out every once in a while and just have a giddy old time and just be like, this thing's still great. I can get great shots. It's light. It's cheap.
He also has content. Bring it back. Every year or two, make a video, bring it back. Show everybody what it used to be like. Yeah.
I have said on multiple occasions that like I miss the feel of like a DSLR, like a 5D or the 7D. I had a 7D Mark II, and that thing just felt like a chonk. Like you picked it up, you're like, I'm taking pictures.
Yeah, like, and the battery life.
Oh man, it was like
you say you go with Craig, and Craig is like, I haven't charged this thing in like 8 hours.
It was D500, yeah. He was like, I don't know when the last time I charged it was, and I was like, I think my battery is on charge yesterday, if not today.
I charge them all before, like I'll charge them today just to make sure that they're all good to go for tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
it's a minor detail, but
it might be worth having. I like having multiple things. The problem for me would become this hypothetical situation if I ever fucked up my R8 and I wanted to shoot the 2:8. I couldn't use the 7D if I picked up another one on the 2:8. Like there's no EF to RF conversion that way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'd be like, now I can't use this lens. Yeah. Now I can't use this lens. I'd have to use, which might not be the worst thing. But I just keep thinking.
It's better than having nothing.
This is true. You're not wrong.
But also so is having $1,500 extra. Although you wouldn't have extra, you'd spend on something else.
Correct. I never.
It's not like we have 1,500 extra. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But no, it just kind of made me think like, I keep saying that it makes these new cameras make beginners have better opportunity and more enjoyment.
Oh yeah.
Because it's so much easier. But as you get better individually, you could actually probably go back and actually enjoy shooting those things again with all the knowledge and experience that you have and technical ability.
I have had the thought.
It's been cranking around in my head a little bit. With the limited amount of time I have to think around here.
I did sell the 300 F4 a while ago, so it's not around. If it was around, still, I might I have thought about getting another 7D2 just because I liked that camera a lot. The only reason I switched is because everyone was like mirrorless.
Yeah. Do you think that you could go back to non-live view though? Like like
I
live
think
exposure?
that would be difficult.
Take that test shot. You know,
Well,
do your
even when
exposure.
even when I did use the 7D2.
He's making his appearance.
Oh,
He's making his appearance. Come here.
Harrison, the man.
Come here. Come here. We might as well quickly.
The man, the myth, the legend.
He won't look. Okay, this is a quick little intermission. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, what
Hi,
are you
Harrison.
doing?
I'm Kyle. You've never met me officially. I have nothing to show you. There's no cats or anything around.
All right, are you done?
Go in the truck.
The truck. Yeah, the battery's charging. Don't worry, your Power Wheels F-150 battery's charging. All right, never off duty. We're back. He wants to know why his F-150 doesn't work, and I said, just check the front emblem.
Does his F-150 not work because it uses the Canon LPE17 battery?
You know what the interesting thing about that is I cut off the old Power Wheels connector that goes to the little 12-volt battery that they have, and I attached my DeWalt battery to it.
Oh, nice.
And it ripped.
Like a 20 volt?
Yeah. Lithium. And
Nice.
it ripped, but the only thing is I didn't put like a speed control module on it, so I was blowing 30 amp fuses like crazy because it just got so hot. So I didn't buy electronic, a speed control module. So I decided to go back to the Power Wheels thing because I was blowing fuses. I burnt out one of my 4 amp batteries. The thing ripped like crazy. Like it was like a scooter. You know those electric scooters you see people ripping down the street on? It went that fast. Like
that's awesome.
It would probably do 15 mile an hour.
I saw a post, or it was like a funniest video or whatever online, and it was this dad did the same thing to his son's something, and the kid just like takes off down the street and just going straight down this road, and the dad starts jogging across the property.
Yeah.
And the mom is yelling from the porch like, "That's too fast! That's too fast!" And the kid's just
pictured him.
outie.
Yeah. You just literally described what happened when I did it.
Was it you on the video?
No, it wasn't. But I saw the video and said I need to do that.
You're like, I'm doing this.
If it wasn't for like it burning out batteries and needing the speed controller kind of limit it, I have to turn it down because it gets too hot and blows. If you're blowing 30 amp fuses, like you don't put a 40 in.
No.
Something will light on fire. So you have to get the module. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to the original battery.
That's fair.
It was fun while it lasted.
My grandma
So
and
that's
grandpa
why he's excited.
Yeah, I would be too. I would rip that thing. Commute on that shit. When I was a kid, my grandma and grandpa had like Power Wheels ATV. It wasn't upgraded like yours. It was just a normal one. And I think they're still like this, but the wheels are just hard plastic. Like there's no rubber, or at this point on that one, there was really no tread left. It just was worn down to flat. And I was ripping around the yard, and I was coming at the driveway at one point, and I tried to turn left to avoid my grandma and grandpa's van, but the tires just didn't stick to the pavement. I just like T-boned this side of their van with his Power Wheels. Didn't do anything.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen though. New drivers, you need a sticker on it.
I should have had to learn. I was like 6, just ripping around my grandparents' yard.
See, now he won't leave us alone.
He's gonna be the unofficial third member.
You have to go up with Mummy because we're losing viewers. We're losing viewers as we speak.
Don't put that on him.
It was your fault. No, I'm just kidding.
Dang it.
Well, at least you're cute. But I gotta finish my show. All right. Okay. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Love you, my man. All right.
Bye. They probably can't hear me.
We can't hear you at all. He's gonna be back down in 3 minutes.
That's probably true.
This is what he's gonna do now to lock the door.
Just
Sorry, everyone.
Barricade yourself. Yeah, that's sick though. I wonder if you could modify a camera battery to like be able to use. I guess you could just plug it in with USB-C. I was like, I would love to use an LPE6 battery in the R8, but I could just plug it in.
Oh, you can do it. It's called the R6 II.
That's true. It's $1,000 upgrade to be able to use.
They
a bigger
make
battery.
that $1,000, but $1,000 for the worry-free idea of they built it
Yeah, you're right.
and they didn't jimmy rig it. $1,000 seems pretty cheap considering you could ruin a $2,000 camera by being cheap.
It's true. You're not wrong.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Math be mathin' on this one.
That's boy math.
Yeah.
I think I would wait for the 6 Mark III.
Yeah, didn't they say it was gonna be a bigger sensor, like a 32 or something? It's right
I don't
here.
know. It could be like it's all rumors. I've heard rumors that they're just going to use the R3 sensor in it, so it'd still be 24, but it'd be stacked now.
Oh, stacked.
And have like way better autofocus, which that's what I'm in for. I don't mind 24. In fact, I like 24. More.
You can't, but you realize you can't. Like you've noticed, you can't crop in it with it.
No, and I've
You have an
tried.
800 millimeter lens. You don't need to. But
I've tried to not as much. I will crop for like composition mainly than to make a picture, a portrait, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's if you start cropping down to like crop mode in the camera, like that 9 megapixel type, like you're losing kind of all advantages of. Well, not advantages. I don't know if there's really an advantage of 24 megapixels outside of ISO performance. I think that's really it.
I believe there's another one, but Will likes to argue with me about stuff, and I don't want to argue with you about this.
No, that's why we have a podcast.
That's true.
I thought it was
so
to have these conversations.
When I switched from, that's fair enough. When I switched from the the A7R3. Those are the letters I'm looking for.
Sony have the worst camera body numbers.
I'm going to put something out there that me and Will were talking about yesterday first that I think is just a thing that doesn't count in the world, but everyone wants it to. There's nothing wrong with Sony menus. You just are used to a different one and hate change. That's my hot take.
That's not your hot take. I've said that you get used to something as more you use it.
I know.
That's just
But
ergonomics aren't a thing really most of the time.
I'm 50. I have another story I could tell about that.
Yeah, let's go in order here.
Yeah. Anyway, me and Will were talking about because he'll send me a thought, and then I'll rebuttal his thought, and then he'll rebuttal my thought, and it's just like, which is fun. Like it's not shoot what you want. I don't give a shit. And talking about cameras in any capacity is fun. But he was saying that he wished the 300 to 600 that Sigma just came out with was EF. And I was like, why EF? Why not RF? And he's like, well, I'm being realistic. Canon's not going to open up their RF mount.
Correct.
And I was like, okay, but you're already being unrealistic by saying it came in an antiquated lens mount that no one's going to use anymore.
You're probably right.
And then we started, but we started talking about I hate filters, like the clear UV filters. And he's like, why do you hate filters? And I was like, because on the 300 f4, it came with a filter. And the first bunch of times I shot it, it was shit. And I was like, this lens is supposed to be good. I didn't realize it had a filter on it. I didn't look. Then I realized a couple days later, took it off, and bam, the lens was exactly what it was supposed to be. So I was like,
if you put a $35 filter on a $1,500 lens, yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm like, I'm not about those cheap, because people buy the cheap UV filter to put on the front of their lens because they're like, it'll protect the camera lens.
That's what the lens hood does.
That's what the lens hood. That's what I'm saying. And he's like, I don't agree. And I'm like, that's fine. But then, so we were talking at some point in our history about megapixels and stuff because he wanted R5 and like we're just talking about it. And I was like, I kind of like the 24 because I find for me in not cropping as much, I'm not losing detail. I'm not blowing it up to wall size prints and stuff. And I read something that I think I was experiencing with the A7R3 that I saw results from the first day I shot the A9. The thing I read was the amount of movement across the sensor of whatever your subject is. You have to use faster shutter speeds for higher megapixel cameras to freeze action, because on a pixel level, the subject moves across more pixels. So it's like the chances of it hitting a getting blur is more because there's more pixels to move past. So with a 24 megapixel camera, the movement across the pixels is less because there's less pixels. So you can kind of not get away with slower shutter speeds, but the chances of you getting a tack sharp shot of movement is more with less megapixels.
I see what you're saying, and I'm trying to grasp here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's compare that to televisions. It
Sure.
might be slightly different, but let's say you have a less resolution, a smaller resolution TV. Is that why it needs less of a refresh rate? Because you know how they get bigger, you can go up to 240 and 300 and all that. Like, or no, am I dirtying this too much?
I don't know. I think it's different. Usually the refresh, is that the same?
The refresh
thing?
rates for like sports, like moving across the screen, not getting rid of that blur. It usually comes in stuff that's more fine details, more higher resolution.
Yeah.
I just mentally trying to make this
Yeah.
connection. It might not even be.
There's another thing you're missing from that, which is pixel response time.
Okay.
The
Which
pixels
wouldn't
on
be
a
a
TV
case.
are switching colors or whatever. Faster switching pixels will have sharper movement. So also, I guess, maybe what I saw, and maybe to kind of agree with you in a way, the A7R3 had a slower sensor than the A9. So the pixels, like, it's the same as refresh rate of the R7 doing rolling shutter and all that business.
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to shoot movement with the A7R3, I could never get the tack sharp thing that I wanted. And stationary, I still miss that sensor. Like that, if I was doing like portraits or landscape, that camera, or even probably the newer ones, the A7R series, would be perfect. They're so crispy. And I know we've talked about how I like sharpness and stuff. They don't have an anti-aliasing filter on them.
Yeah.
So they're like stupid sharp.
It's a lot more raw, right? Like a lot more. Yeah.
And I like that look, kind of. Canon always looks not soft in a bad way,
but a little dreamy.
Yeah, a little bit. More like just the edges are smoother. You know? They're not as jagged and pointed.
Yeah.
And I don't mind a jagged, pointed thing. But I also don't shoot that camera anymore. So maybe I do.
You can always just, even if it's a little too much for you, you can always throw a little noise reduction or something on it and smooth it a little bit.
That's true. Just
because there's no noise doesn't mean you can't add a little bit to take away that clarity and a little bit, you know.
You get that moire or moire or whatever.
Moire, yeah.
Like an eel.
A moire or eel.
But yeah, where was I going with this? We were talking
to
Will about pixels and stuff, and the reason I like 24 megapixels is the first day I had the A9 is when I got my favorite picture ever of that osprey carrying the sucker. And I didn't really even, not that I didn't try hard, but I just kind of brought the camera up to my eye, hit the tracking, and followed it. Like, it was very quick. And it was one of the ones in the middle. The exposure was out of whack. The sky was white and the bird was black. It looked like a Who's That Pokemon at the end of the Pokemon show. I don't know if you know that reference. But when I brought the colors back, I was like, this nailed it. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. So I was like, 24 megapixels I'll put up with, because if I don't crop, I will have this sharpness that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So that started me not cropping,
Right.
going from the A9.
Right. I think why a lot of people prefer the higher megapixel bodies is because I think most of the time with wildlife photographers on average, the inability to get close enough. They find that they can crop, and if they have to crop in at 100%, they still have 20 megapixels left. Just slightly less than what we have to begin with. And I think it's kind of a crux, just slightly. Because if you shoot that R5 in the same distance as I'm going to get with a 24 megapixel camera, I think I'm going to prefer the R5 sensor.
R5? You're going to prefer the more megapixels?
If I can get as close as I can now and get all that detail, and then have the ability to crop to composition or something, of course I think I might like the higher megapixel. I just don't think it's necessary. I think a lot of people fail to realize that it's just a crux is why they're using it. It's a crutch. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like it because I can crop. It's like, but it's kind of like what I'm saying with using the Sigma lens. The autofocus is actually preventing me from putting my mind into actually what I'm doing.
Yep.
So if you have to fall back on, like you said, with AI and using stick removal, you're going to come home with a bunch of photos with a bunch of sticks because you can get rid of them. So you get lazy. So I think there's a bit of a lazy aspect when it comes to why some people prefer the higher megapixels. Because if a wedding photographer said, I like higher megapixel bodies, I understand, because you can pose your subject anywhere you want. You can get as close as you want, as far as you want. You don't have the limitations like you do with wildlife. But that one thing that wildlife photographers do have is the unknown and the inability to put the subject where you want it and keep it there.
That's true. I think what's going to happen is next week we're both going to show up with DSLRs again. We're like, we're back, baby. We're not shooting mirrorless anymore.
I think it would be a really cool kind of level or layer to the podcast to have, like, us shooting these DSLRs and again telling people our experience based on what we shoot now.
The only DSLR that I have at my access without going and buying something else is my wife's Rebel XS. So this is way before even the T2i. Yeah. So like it's got, I think, 7 autofocus points.
Probably. Maybe 9? No, not even 9.
I don't think
you're
9.
right.
I think it's like
7.
that diamond in the middle. Yeah. I think it's 8 megapixels. And I have this. They'll shoot this.
Yeah.
I'll go try to find.
I certainly don't advise that. Like, I still think you should put it on a 80D or a 7D or a 6D, and you should have a 300 f4 or a 400 5.6. I think you should pair it with some, cheaper L series stuff to really. You're not going to appreciate that lens that you just held up, that 55-250 APS-C lens. Like, you're not going to appreciate that. You're not going to appreciate the XS. You probably wouldn't appreciate. Maybe you might be able to get away with like what Rain used to shoot, that SL1, SL2.
Yeah,
they're the smaller kind of.
They had a
crop
worse
bodies.
Autofocus system in it though than all of the Rebels. They just were trying to be smaller, I think.
I picture myself just using spot one, one-shot autofocus, and compose, hold focus. I picture me going back to my Fuji days, my
fingers
Rebel
have
series days.
Forgotten how to do that for sure. Like it would.
So
have
did
to
my
be...
best. That's how I'm shooting this lens. Basically, all I'm doing with this piece of shit. No, it's actually pretty good.
POS lens.
What I'm doing with it is I'm actually using subject tracking. I probably spoke about this, but subject tracking to acquire the subject. And as soon as I see it acquire the eye, to get rid of that micro contrast or micro focusing, the pulsing is I just hold the autofocus hold button. So as soon as I acquire what I want, I just hold the button and it just stays there. Yes, if the subject moves, if the subject turns, you're going to have these. But once you have the subject in the position and the pose that you want, and you know how sometimes like a robin will sit on like a fence post and it'll look this way.
Never seen it.
And then it'll look to the left, and the left is where you want it. You know it's going to, if it looks back to the right or it looks behind it, it's going to come back to the left again. That's when I'm snagging that shot.
Yeah.
That's when I'm snagging that shot. It's a lot more just relaxing way of shooting. And I thought when I used to shoot the Fuji all the time is like, I'm missing so many shots that I could have. Well, I have a whole library of those shots, and they're not any fucking better than the ones that I missed.
Well, here's
They're
another
just
thing.
those in between. They're those in between shots. I thought that the shots that I was missing was gonna make me the photographer I wanted to be, and all they are just the awkward in between shots, and now I have to call through.
That's true.
Less is kind of more to a degree.
Another thing that I don't miss about the A7R3 was the size of every picture. They're 42. It was 42 megapixels. It was huge.
Yeah.
So
what's an R8 photo? Like 22, 23?
22 megs. I think the
Yeah.
A7R3 was like 70 something. It was like 73 megs or 72 megs.
Yeah. And the A1 was like 100 for each photo. Mm-hmm. Like,
It's
no.
50 megapixels.
I remember when Sean was like, no.
Well, the new A7R 5 or 6 or whatever they're on now is, I think, a 62 megapixel sensor. Like, they're huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
But like, who wants a 100 megabyte? Who wants a 100 megabyte photo?
Hagrid Megabux.
That's the name of the episode.
Hagrid Megabux.
If you could figure out how to spell that, that's the episode title.
I could come up with something. Like I said, I miss the look of it, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't miss. And even the R7 with his 33, like, because it was a 33 crop, like, it was, I don't know if this is true or something I've made up, but I feel like I think it's more of a crop versus full frame sensor thing. I think it definitely is, actually, but crop frame, you see this with the like P1000 and stuff, the shots look flat. Like, they're just like, I don't know. It's hard to distinguish between like the plant, the bird, the grass.
Isn't the sensor like the size of my pinky finger
I think
nail?
literally, yeah. They're like, they're very small.
And it doesn't have portrait mode like built in like a camera would. So you're lacking
AI.
that technology. Has no AI. So yeah, I could see. Yeah, that does make sense. And the people that are typically shooting, I've seen some nice photos. Don't get me wrong. There are a couple nice photos out there, but a lot of the people that are using it for IDs.
I think
plumage type looks.
Yeah, and just like, I saw this bird on my walk, or I don't want to carry a massive 200-800 lens, which is fine.
Like, you're not going to take anybody serious. No offense to anybody shooting one of those cameras. Like, it's just usually it's a stepping stone into something interchangeable. But you're not going to take anybody serious shooting a P1000 or a 950. Let's be real.
Who had the Sony bridge camera?
It's Kareem, and it was some of his best stuff.
Yeah,
I know he's
piece
got better. I know he's got better, obviously, but like, if you went back and you're like, oh, that's when you were shooting the Sony, like, you wouldn't really notice much of a degradation in like quality or the type of looks he was getting or the type of, context to the photos. Like, he still had that. That's him, but he wielded it pretty well. Let's be real.
Wielded the shit out of that thing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So like, it's possible to coax good shots out of those cameras for sure. But like, even with the R7 sensor though, I found everything looked flatter. And I think when I said I missed like a full frame look, I think that's what I was missing. And I think realistically, that's just like the depth of field that you get from a full frame versus a crop sensor.
Yeah.
So I'm happy on the R8. I would like an R5 or an R6, but I don't need one. I just want one.
Do you like the 100-400 as much on the R8 as you did the R7 though? Let's be real.
I don't use it as much for sure.
It's not the same lens though.
It's not. I don't. People will. A 100 to 400 is a great range for a crop body in general. So even the old L lens, the EFLs, not the pump one, I guess is fine, but the version 2, and most other like Fuji has a 1 to 4 for their crop, and like Panasonic and Leica. So like, they make that lens range for crops. So like, math wise, it makes sense. On the R7, it was great. It was a great little kit to carry around. I would still carry that lens on the R8 on a vacation for where I was not going on vacation to shoot wildlife, but if I
Yeah.
had the opportunity, I would rather have that than nothing else.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't want to bring that 150-600 Sigma over the RF just because of the weight.
Thinking about walking around Disney with the 150 to 600 in your R8, you just wouldn't. 1 to 4.
I would, but I now like knowing what the 1 to 4 is and how virtually like there's actually it doesn't even, it might be minus grams. It feels sometimes.
It makes the
Like, it's
camera
really-
lighter somehow.
It makes it somehow balance and make it lighter. It feels lighter. Yeah. Like knowing that, yes. But if the Sigma was all I knew and what I had, yeah, I would do it. But I do understand there's a better option. But I just think it doesn't quite have that umph unless you're within 4 to 8 feet
For sure.
of your subject than it does on a crop from 10 to 20 feet.
Correct. Like it's not the same
It's that
lens,
working distance.
but the qualities that make it a great lens aren't necessarily taken away on a full frame. You just have to work
Yeah.
a little harder.
I asked Voldemort,
Yeah.
because I kind of brought it up, and he was honest with me finally, and he's like, I don't like that lens. I think it looks ugly. I think it produces ugly looking photos. Everything's just kind of sharp, but there's no good transitions. It's not a very good lens. That's his
Fair.
take on it.
I
think because he only shot it on an R5 and an R6 too. He never shot it on crop, and I think that's where that thing shines.
yes.
I really do. Like Kareem loves his. Rain loves his. I loved mine on the R10.
I liked it. I loved it on the R7.
I just don't quite have the exact same relationship with it, and it sits more than it doesn't. That's why I opted to, take that Sigma for a while and just kind of see what something in a slightly different zoom range and a wider aperture could do.
Jamie, the person
Does make a difference.
Jamie, the person I sold the R7 to, she's been talking about. She has the Sigma 100 to 400, and I think she has a 150 to 600, but she's having the same shenanigans that everyone does, so the micropulsing and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I showed her the 1 to 4 when I sold her the lens. I was like, this thing on that camera is incredible. Like, you should get one of these eventually. So she's considering one, but then also kind of waiting because Canon's talking about maybe a 200 to 500 or like something else. But like, I keep talking to her. I was like, every one of these lenses is going to be an L lens. They keep talking about them being L lenses, a replacement to the 200 to 400 with the TC and stuff like that. So like, they're not in the same ballpark at all as this cheap plastic fantastic 1 to 4.
You got to consider that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It's
price
like,
point.
the 100 to 300 would be an insane lens. Mm-hmm. But like, you're not putting that on an R7. You're gonna put that on an R5, on fucking R3 and R1. Like, that's just
You're putting it on an R7 if you have an R3 or an R1, and that's just your second body. But like, that's not your main body.
If you're at a scenario where you're like, actually the crop factor would help me here, then you'd slap that thing on.
Yeah. Or I forgot my TC and I just want that extra reach, and I have this extra body, just in case something happens.
A truck ran over my R5 and my backup R7 is all I have.
Yeah. That's about the only scenario I can picture.
Yeah.
Is the one you painted right there.
Right. But like, because the 1 to 4 is inexpensive, and so is the R8, and so is the R10, and so is the R7. Like, those all make sense together, and that's why I think they work so much well together. Because
name of the podcast.
So much well together. the price makes sense. Like, cause you're not. What's weird is when you see someone using like an R3 with the 800 f11. You're like,
yeah,
okay, like, sure, but
you blew your budget, didn't you?
Yeah. It's like a shit car with like really expensive rims. You're like,
interestingly enough, extremely popular in Arizona.
The R3 and the 800 Levelon?
Nope, terrible cars with amazing rims.
Oh, yes, that's very true. We were in a long time ago, we were driving to Florida, and I think we were in Georgia.
Another spot with amazing rims.
Yeah, or somewhere fairly deep south. And we had stopped at a mall, And I had an iPod Shuffle at the time. It was like the little tiny
You're
one.
aging yourself.
Oh, I'm 37, turning 38 in October. In case anyone's wondering. And I had bought just a speaker that it like snapped into. So my father-in-law was in the gas station and I was just waiting in the van. So I just had this speaker in the cup holder. And this, I think the term is the right term. I think when it's like an 87 Olds with like huge chrome wheels, I think that's called
Donk.
Yeah, I was gonna say a donking the car out. So this donked out 80s something pulled up beside us. So the van door was open because it was hot, and this dude gets out, dreadlocks, like baggy denim everywhere, patches all over him, huge. Actually, he would have loved these. Huge douche sunglasses like this.
Probably sponsored now.
Yeah. And he gets out and he looks in the van door. And I think the song I was listening to was Short Skirt, Long Jacket by Cake. Do you know that song?
Oh, yeah.
And
I want a girl with a short skirt and a
long
jacket.
So anyway, he looks in the van and looks at me and kind of starts bobbing his head and like gave me a thumbs up and walked into the gas station. And I was like, I didn't know how that was going to turn out, but that was the best way it could have happened.
I want that for life.
Yeah, it was great. But so that's my big rims and old car story from somewhere.
When I went to Tucson, we landed and we were going to this resort, and every house had no grass but a rusty bucket of a vehicle and brand new rims.
Yeah, sure. Nice.
Aftermarket rims. So anyway.
I needed tires for one car and I didn't want to buy new tires. So I bought used tires on rims, but they were Mitsubishi rims that I put on my Kia, and I don't hate it. Like it looks better, I think, than the stock wheels. And I was like,
we're going through the same thing right now. I'm looking at Volvo and Jaguar rims because they have the same 5x108 bolt pattern as my Ford.
Sure. Yep.
And I do need Summers, and I'm seeing Volvo and Jaguar rims, and I'm like, I don't know, I might do this.
Yeah.
Because I need Summers, and I don't want to buy new ones, and I can get them for like $500 or $600. I don't have to have installation. You know what I mean? I'm saving some money if I do it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. I was like,
Great
I had to replace okay, story time with Kyle. Fucking who cares about birds at this point? I replaced the
birds. What are those?
What are birds? I replaced the control arms on my car last weekend. So what I did was I was like, I'm gonna schedule an alignment for like 1. I'm gonna get to my in-laws because he has all the tools at like 9 and just start. And I should be. It's 4 bolts other than the lug nuts, and I should be done. Watched a video from a dude in the Middle East or something that doesn't have salt. So they just like buzzed out all the bolts, fucking swapped the shit in.
Didn't need plasma cutter.
Yeah.
And
Freaking. So the first couple of bolts, rusty, fine. Got them off. Dack. Brr, able to bust through everything. Soaked them everything in some kind of penetrant. The freaking one bolt that went through, it went through the.
Sorry, what?
It went through the bushing into the subframe, I guess. Because there's no nut on the side. It was just threaded into something. The bushing, the bolt like rusted in the bushing. So when you would turn the bolt, you were just twisting the rubber.
The inside, yeah.
Yeah. And when you let go, the ratchet or the breaker bar would just whip
snap back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we had to do, just because of the tools we had and everything we had, we had to overcome the twist, and then you could only get like 1/8 of it right at the end. So I would preload it. My father-in-law was holding on to my brake and pushing the ratchet with his foot under the car. And then we would get like 1/8 of a turn every time we did that.
How many times did you have to do that?
It honestly took probably an hour and a half for one bolt. And
I hate mechanics. Not physically the people, just skill.
Yeah. So then after we got, and like a few times we took breaks, obviously, but we were like, Are we making progress? Is this stripped? Like, is there something else going on? We're squirting it with WD-40 and anything else we can find in the garage. And like, we just were like, I guess we keep doing this shit that we just did. And when we did it, eventually we got the bolt and we're like, sick. Next side. So it's driver's side now. And because it's the bolts faced the front of the car. So instead of being able to kick the ratchet under the car, I had to pull it towards me this time. So what we did in this case is he would preload it and put a strap on the ratchet handle, and I would just like stand up and kind of do like a deadlift to get that. And then what would happen sometimes is the strap would slide off the end of the ratchet. I would go flying into the wall, and the ratchet would come back at warp speed, and almost like he knew it was going to happen, but like he could have got like banged in the face or whatever by this ratchet. And like, man, it took, I think I was done at like 3-ish. So I missed my window. Yeah.
So 6 hours.
6 hours. I missed my window for the alignment for 2 hours.
You did it in the time that a Ford or Dodge or something would allocate for their billing process.
Correct.
Oh, that's a 6 hour job.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's not. There's 4 bolts. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was.
They have a lift. They have all the tools. They're working above their head, not on the ground, and they'll still say it's 6 hours. The time it took you with all your issues.
Yep.
Yeah, crooks. My car, I thought I threw a transmission. Mm-hmm. Which I believe Ford tried to sell me a transmission.
Okay.
It ended up being a $2 shifter bushing for the cable because
Sure.
it popped off the top of the transmission, and a shifter bushing cable cover that I installed myself for 2 minutes in the driveway. They almost got me for a $5,000 tranny. So I thought,
yeah, $6.
It's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
It was $4, and they had them in stock. And then I found out later that in 2017 Ford Fusions is what I've put this on. Is there was a recall at one time. It just so happens that mine wasn't recalled.
Oh. And then you had the problem later.
And I'd fixed it myself, and they wanted to give me a transmission.
Frickin'
They didn't want to
bitches.
give me one, actually. They wanted to sell me one.
Like, here you go.
You missed the window. Here's a free transmission. Anyway, mechanics is the worst.
Yeah.
Mechanics are great people, but the skill itself is absolutely terrible.
Well, my mechanic just called me, and then they send you a link for you can look at. They do like an inspection, and apparently 51 items are okay on my car, and there's no other thing that they check. So
I was going to say there's more than 51 items on your car, so how many aren't?
all the
There's got to be 200 items on a car at least.
Yeah, apparently everything looks good. So I guess
you go.
it's done now. I got to go pick that up at some point.
Well, how long have we been recording for?
No, I don't. We don't leave now. A minute.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say a minute 13. It's an hour 13.
All right.
It's only I walked to it, but anyway, this is the car portion of the car or the bird
Yeah.
podcast.
I figure we have a couple, mechanically inclined individuals who like listening.
I hope so. I hope we have.
Yeah.
I hope eventually we get to the point where people. I don't want to say put up with the bird chat, but like they come for other things that aren't bird
Other
stuff.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I think a big goal or just overthinking, but the original Top Gear show, you could watch that show and not like cars and still find it really entertaining just because
100%.
the dynamic of the
it.
three of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Although the new guy's pretty good too.
I haven't watched
I saw him on Joe.
Top Gear in a while.
I saw him on Joe Rogan.
Which guy?
The new Top Gear guy. Like there's a guy that's kind of taken over the show. I think it's
I don't know.
Top Gear.
Sure.
And he seems like he's a pretty good guy. I should get into it again. But yeah, I watched it not just for the car portion.
Right.
You're right. You're 100% right. I fit that demographic.
Yeah. And like I'm all about cars, but like them taking a piss out of each other or just like fucking around with each other is always funny, and then they would just have like funny jokes, and like the cinematography of even the show was great. So I don't know if we'll get to that point of cinematography.
Well, I believe most of what you just said was just their personalities.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming out. I just want it to feel organic. None of this is pre-thought out or anything. We just go
This
with it.
episode specifically was very not.
We were gonna
gonna
answer a fan mail question, but we'll do that next episode because of the whole time schedule.
Yeah.
Not that you guys need to know behind the scenes, but we feel like your family, whoever listens, so you got to be in on the process.
Exactly. The creative process of, I don't know if I want to do that today. Let's do it next time.
Yeah, and that's easy because you're like, you want to just shoot the shit, and we're like, yeah, we can do that. That's no problem.
That's all we know how to do, really.
Yeah,
just shit shooters. Shit shooters 101. Oh, now my son's here. Hello.
That's an easier sound, isn't it?
I probably
actually I can't ask you that because you don't really know the difference between the two. I've had a cat before.
I was thinking like I know people with kids would be really upset if I compared having pets to children.
Hell no. Cats are way harder, bro.
They're not. They're really not. Like he's a shithead, but I guarantee you a child is more work. So I can't say that.
Well, the cat that we had definitely prepared us for kids because she was a little tyrant. Like,
oh really?
She was a problem child, yeah. We had lots of problems with her.
This guy
shitting all over the house.
This guy's great.
All these behavioral issues.
Except he eats everything he shouldn't and gets into stuff that he shouldn't and is like unapologetic about it.
That sounds like just like
ow, he's stabbing me.
Continual toddler state.
Yeah. But the problem is, as you can see, he's very cuddly. So like I can't really fault him for wanting to eat every piece of leaf or thread or the corner of the carpet or anything, plastic bags, because he's very loving, and that's what you want from him.
As all I see is just two razor sharp paws just shooting out into your, close to your beard.
I know. What the? Okay. He's decided.
Has he ever
gave
you a swat?
No, Ted will never hit me. He will never hiss at me. I don't know why, or any person. His personality, he doesn't do that. But when we first got Lego, our dog, it's the only animal or anything that I've ever seen Ted get pissed off at. And I was like, that's impressive. Because Lego would just like chase him into a corner and just like be a puppy and be ridiculous. Now they're best friends.
Right.
But it took a while. But yeah, Ted, I don't know. He'll like scratch or like run away and kind of grab, but he'll never like get mad and swat at a person. I don't know why. He just doesn't.
Yeah, that's unlike most cats.
Zoe.
Most cats are swatters.
We have 3 cats. This is another
3.
One. Yeah.
You have more cats than I do kids.
Yep. And a dog. So this one's Cheese.
Cheese.
She's our old lady. She's like 16. We got her when we were dating. And she still acts like pretty sprightly and excitable. I don't think she would punch a person. She would punch other cats 100%. And she punches Lego. He'll just walk past and she'll just go.
She'll just swat him.
Just bat him.
That's like my cat would do. Yeah. My dog knew not to mess with that cat.
Cheese will come when you call her. She'll eat any bug in the house. She doesn't really get into anything. Like she's been a great cat. And she wants to leave right now, but she also wants attention. So it's kind of 50-50.
She's like, they all want you to stop the podcast.
Yeah, I know. Zoe's probably downstairs. Zoe's the middle child. We're just going through cats now. And she's weird. Like, she's just weird. She still acts like a kitten. She's like more, she's pretty chill, but also she really likes to like be alone. If you pick her up, she's like, no, and she just gets really upset. But then she'll like, when she's in the mood for pets, like you can't not pet her because she's like, we call it bedroom eyes. She'll look at you from across the room, and be like, you're gonna pet me.
No.
And then she'll like slowly come over and be like, oh, I guess I'm petting Zoe now.
I made eye contact. No.
I've ran over my headphones cable now, and so now I'm kind of tethered to the floor.
Oh, with your chair.
Yeah.
At first when you said I ran over, I'm like, you had a 4th cat?
No, if I ran over my own cat, like I would be a mess for the rest of my life.
It does happen.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's gotten dark.
I know. was gonna say I can't tell if I'm staring at a cardinal or an oriole right now. It's a cardinal. I figured it out.
I was hoping it was an Oreo.
Well, the way that the light was coming through the tree, it kind of looked like it could have been, but
backlit.
Very, very backlit, and there's like the dappled light. But I have seen Orioles on my property. Are you a weirdo like me, and you'll keep a list? Oh, just yes. I have a list on my phone of birds that I've seen on my property, just because I think that's fun.
I have an actual like hidden eBird list pinned to my house.
Oh, cool.
So anytime I have a new bird, I just put it into it.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody else can see the pin or anything like that, but yeah, that's how I do it.
That's cool.
So I am a weirdo, and I also do that.
I was outside the other night planting tomatoes, and there's a merlin that lives around the corner, in a couple of tall pine trees, or spruce trees. And the year before, it was in different spruce trees that were sort of nearby, and I'm like, I got 2 big blue spruces in my front yard, and I'm like, come on, like nest at my house.
Yeah,
I love hearing
eventually,
them scream
I bet,
just around the neighborhood.
Yeah, my whole neighborhood is all blue spruce. Like that's the main tree that they planted at the time, I guess.
I think it's my favorite tree.
It's nice. They're nice.
Yeah,
it's a good tree.
I'm turning into a plant person because we've started putting gardens up everywhere, and that's what the rest of the weekend is going to be, is gardening.
That's because you're turning 38.
It's true. Yeah, I think it's my gardening phase is coming.
I was out doing the garden before I did this. So.
Yeah, exactly. And last year at work, they were giving away plants if you opened some kind of an account. And I went to the one branch to do some maintenance on something, and they had some little plants left over. Like, oh, just take a plant. And I was like, okay. So it's this, I think it's called a nanny berry bush. It's just like a native bush plant thing. And it was like a stick with 2 leaves on the top. So it was like nothing. We planted it in the garden in the front in the fall, and then winter happened, and then this year it hadn't really been doing anything. And then like a squirrel, when Sean is like, I want to get a picture of a squirrel because he lives in Europe. I'm like, bro, there are 40 squirrels at my house currently, like right now.
They have the cool squirrels, don't they?
Little
with the
tufts
cool
on their
fun
ears.
Yeah. So I get that.
Be fun. But so a squirrel fucked with this little bush, and then yesterday I was looking outside and I just looked at it, and it's just been a stick for 6 months now. And there's like one little tiny sprout that's coming up from like the roots, not the stick that's there, but like another one. And I was like, is it alive? Because I was pretty confident it was dead. I'm so invested in this little bush, and I don't know why.
Is it alive?
I think so.
Do you think? There you go.
We're going to put a little cage around it so the squirrels can't mess with it. And hopefully it lives, because it would be cool for some reason. I just find it neat. We planted a plant the other day called Rattlesnake Master, and I just love the name. I was like, that sounds sick. Let's plant that.
Is it as cool? Does it look as cool as it sounds?
No, it's a native plant. I'm sure some people might consider it a weed. It's seen in ditches a lot. It gets kind of these
like from Alberta.
Maybe, yeah.
Everything's a ditch in
Rain,
Alberta, apparently.
Yeah, Rain would be very familiar with it when he's laying in ditches. It has these little ball kind of flower seed pod things in the fall. It's kind of cool, but it grows really tall, and it's called Rattlesnake Master.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went hard on the hot peppers in my vegetable garden this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thinking about making my own salsas and stuff like that.
I think we only have one jalapeno plant.
I got jalapeno.
Business.
I have devil's tongue.
Ooh.
I have yellow and red habanero.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you.
I have this one that is 1.4 million Scovilles called Naga Red.
Oh, I might have heard of that one.
Yeah, it's apparently very hot. And then I have 2 more, and I can't remember what the hell they are. I have photos of them on my phone, but I'm not grabbing it. I've been on just a hot pepper kick. Oh, I had I went to Firehouse Subs.
Yep.
And I noticed they have, obviously do hot ones. They have a collab with them right now, and one of their subs, Hook and Ladder, you can get the last dab, the one that they use for the last
really?
dab on it.
Yeah.
And I got it, and I smashed that thing. So good.
You'd
And my
crush
wife
those
couldn't
chicken
eat.
wings.
My wife couldn't eat the whole rest of hers, so I ate that too, and I'm gonna get an ulcer eventually.
Probably.
So good.
Yeah, I can't do hot. I don't know why. I'm a baby.
I can't do like insanely hot, but like
You're talking like 1.2 million Scovilles. Like that's up there.
I don't know if I've had anything that crazy. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm trying it out.
I like,
You need to use like hazmat suits to like dry out and cut these things up.
but I think I've said this before in the podcast, but fuck it. I don't care. I used
You've
to
said
do,
that before on the podcast.
Yeah. I did this job called home energy auditing for a bit. So people would ask me and my friend how they could make their house more like energy efficient and shit. And went into this, it was an Indian man's house, and the table had like a little plant. And I was like, oh, whatever. And underneath was this little bowl of chutney. He's like, oh, I just finished making chutney. Go for it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Just be polite. And I had the crackers, and I was like, boom. It was pretty much just raw habanero, which is what that plant was that he had chopped up with some other stuff. I died. I was like,
Which is like a yellow bell pepper to him.
oh yeah. He was just crushing the things. And I was like, okay.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Just the heat.
He's like,
hardcore heat. Because it was that sauce from Buc-ee's, that dill pickle Carolina Reaper sauce I've been eating.
yeah.
And Carolina Reapers are some of the hottest peppers in the world. Mm-hmm. So I've been smashing that, and I've just expanded my palate.
Yeah, maybe I'll get there, but maybe when I'm 39, I'll be into hot peppers like you are.
That's nice.
My tongue will have 1 year of extra wear on it.
There you go. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Could be. I don't know what else to talk about.
We don't have to.
It's been an hour and a half.
Yep, we'll end it.
Yeah, sure.
I hear my wife and kids yelling at each other upstairs, so.
I should probably call the mechanic back and make sure they're like, your car exploded. All these things are fine, but actually it doesn't exist anymore.
a lot of the other podcasts you listen to may not, but we have responsibilities.
Yes, still. So hit that subscribe button so we don't need to have responsibilities anymore.
Yeah. And go check out, I'm going to be a shameful bastard here. Go check out my Eastern Towie shot with the spiderweb and keep that thing going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see what we get it to. It's like my first post in like 12 years that's actually done anything.
Yeah. It's exciting when that happens, isn't it?
Kinda. I don't know. Sure. If I get paid from it, it is.
Yeah. True.
I should have shot it with the Sigma, and then maybe I could have got Sigma to sponsor, and then we could have went brought to you by Sigma this episode. And
Sigma did hit you up after you posted something, didn't they?
They did, and they said the 150-600 never looked so good. I'm like, nice.
I don't know if that's a vote of confidence from the company.
Send me an EF 500 F4.
Yeah. That'd be sick.
I'll do a review. I don't think I've ever seen one.
No. Well,
there's hundreds. Are you kidding me?
Well, you saw one in a lake as well, technically.
Yeah, I did with the Z9. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
that would have held my kayak in a strong breeze.
Yeah, it's a big beefy lens.
7.5 pounds, I think.
Wow. What is the new 3 to 6? Isn't it 9? I think it's 9.
I think it is.
It's up there.
Because I know like the 600 F4 is actually lighter than the 500 F4s, the new one. Like, so they're getting better and better. So like, unfortunately, you have to take weight for a price discount. So, but now that I'm thinking like the 500 F4, it's like, is the 600 a possibility? I don't think it is.
You're going to come back to the 60 to 600?
I want a prime look. I don't want to get rid of the 800. I want to keep my current lenses and just add a powerful prime, but I don't want it to be a $15,000 prime. And the Sigma 500 F4 seems like that might be the one that, get it used for $4,000 or something. That might be it.
I think you can get some used.
Looking on eBay.
Yeah, eBay stuff. The gray market stuff might be a cool.
Yeah, I thought I saw one for 3,600.
The Sigma
out of the US, yeah, which is not terrible considering for $500 less the 200 800 is that price.
Get that TD Artisan manual focusing 500/6.3.
Sounds terrible.
But
But I can't knock it till I try it. I got to stop being such a
That's true.
skeptic and
don't be
such
a hater. We're going to be the Lovely Bird podcast in like another 20 episodes.
Rebrand.
the Friendly Bird pod show.
The Share Bears.
Oh, man. Share Bear stare. All right.
All right.
I'm going to leave.
We've exhausted everything. You guys get your car. My wife's beating my kids. Don't tell
terrible.
CAS. No, I'm kidding. She's not. Unless you hear it, then she is.
Is your wife beating them at Just Cause 4?
Jenga.
Oh, even better.
I think that's what I hear getting thrown around up there.
Jenga's
It's just Jenga falling. It's just Jenga, I swear.
Or it's cans out of a cupboard.
Maybe.
Now what bird's up there? I don't know. Anyway.
All right, it's my turn because you wore those sick-ass glasses.
It's true.
So I know that for sure. So put on the glasses because thank you for listening to the Angry Bird Pod Show. I've been Matt Parrish. That's been Kyle Bame.
True story.
Like, subscribe, follow, enjoy, appreciate.
Love.
And start the music right now.
All
right, Kyle. Happy chatting this afternoon.
Yeah, man. You didn't get attacked by sunlight this time.
That's right, and I didn't put a pillow up there. Just a nice, clean exposure. Okay.
Right on. Love you, buddy.
Love you. Talk to you next time. See you guys.
Later.
Dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week. This one never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Peep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine, twisting in the air. Birds of every kind. Critics gonna chirp, but they ain't ever dying. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Show, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. On the twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Show, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this but never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Keep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine, twisting in the air. Birds are back, so fine. Brain Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Tuning in next week, this but never in the past. In the past. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. From dawn to twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they click and they snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Show, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. From the past. Not shortcut. Not shortcut. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Bringing all the glee.